Hello, welcome back to the channel. Apologies for the lateness of the video. It's taken me a little bit longer than I anticipated to actually get all the parts actually cleaned, polished. I've laid everything out, so today we're actually going to start the reassembly. I've had quite a few questions about float heights, jets, etc. Obviously with these carbs, they're not going to be running obviously a standard engine. It's 1170 now, so there will be differences in the air screw and the actual main jets, but I'll still give you the details of standard setup. I've also printed out a couple of the fiche pictures, so I'll show you exactly where I'm up to now. Right, so the polishing is done. That took a bit longer than expected. I've literally laid all the components as per their particular carb. The bars have been done. These are the fiche pictures, so you've got the individual breakdown. That's where you can get them from. And then the actual main picture of all carbs together with all the components. Now as for the carbs, I was deliberating actually whether to paint them, leave them as they are. People on Facebook have already seen this. I actually decided to paint them. And they actually come out pretty good. I thought with the black, with the polished, would match the engine quite well. So like I say, they're the main fiche pictures. That breaks down, as I say, each individual carb into its separate components. If you go actually onto the site and choose the bike, it does give you the first part of the part number. On the website, actually underneath the picture will be all the part numbers. As I say, everything's come up pretty good. I ordered new screws for the caps. Unfortunately I didn't order enough for the actual float bowls, so I've had to clean up and use the old ones, but I'll use new ones on the outer side and then get some more and replace them. But that's taken quite some time to actually get them cleaned. I probably could have left them as they were and done it in a quicker time, but I just want them to look nice, and I think they'll match nicely with the engine. So we've got the repair kits. I did have to order some pilot jets. So that's the standard size, 37.5. So I've actually made some notes as well. The actual float height, when we get to that point, is 18.6mm from the actual mating surface, which will be the flat surface inside, not this lip, this actual flat bit. So it needs to sit 18.6. I have had a look, correct me if I'm wrong, the standard main jet, by what I found, should be 117.5. The thing is, because I'm running 1170, I'm going to be running 130 jets, which obviously then changes the actual pilot jet. So instead of being 1 1/4 to 2 turns out, mine could be out as far as 2 3/4 to 3 1/4. Also, I've done the wet fuel version if you want to do it that way. I don't think I have a tube. It would screw into there, but that's 4mm plus or minus 1mm. But that's all the details I've come up with, so I'll get this cleared and then we'll start reassembly. Right, so let's get these rebuilt. We'll start off with the float chambers first. So I'll be working from this line. So gaskets are ready. I've also taken out the float holder. These are the new ones that come with the kit. Replaced the rubber ring. Obviously it doesn't come with these filter caps. Have to take them off your originals. But it does give you a new needle jet. Other parts in the kit. There's a rubber washer for that jet. And also one for the bottom of the float bowl. So that comes in the basic kit. If you want a full in-depth kit, which will be needles, it basically brings in everything. I actually made a note. That is the kit, a keister kit. It's K-2038KK. Have a look at that online, and it is everything you need. It is obviously the gasket, it's all the jets, main jets, pilot jets, air screws, and obviously the float needle and holder. And I believe these tubes come in it as well, but I'm just using the actual basic kit. Yeah, so I was pleased how these actually come up. Obviously I masked this area off, this area, well, everything was masked off basically that I didn't want painted. All the holes were basically covered to stop paint getting in. So that pushes in. Needle. Just want to check that actually. Yep. Right, and then the clamp. Holds that in place. Right, then we need to get the tube. Need to get the tube back in and then push that through. So you can see it there. You have to push it in from the top, push that through, and it will level up there. Right, the other thing to remember is actually when fitting these, you'll see a groove. And if you can see, just in there, there's a little bit that sticks out. That has to line up. You can probably see it now, just there. That has to line up and slide over, so that will push down all the way to the bottom. Right, so that is now, you can see it, it's now in place. You push it down to a certain point and it will pop into place. There's the end. Then there's the actual brass washer that keeps it in place. And then the main jet. Yeah, that's the problem when you put that in. Obviously if you move the carb over, it will fall out. So it might be an idea to actually put that in just before we put the floats in. So the next one is the very small pilot jet that sits way down in there. So that's into its tightest, and then you've got the small cap. That sits on top. Needle jet in. Slide the float through. To actually change the height, let's grab the other one. That tang in the middle, you can see it's slightly raised. You can basically push it through, so when we do the heights, you move that to up or down. And then we push the pin through. So that's through. Is the actual height. So it's 18.6. So what I've done is I've measured. I only have a tape measure and it's not big enough. It's too big to actually fit in through. So from the edge of the paper to that line, you can see a little line, is 18.6. So the mating surface is the flat surface underneath this lip. And I should, with the shadow, right, the other way. So there's my line. And what we're actually going for, as you can see in the picture there, it's not this height, it's this height. So you can see it's stepped. We want the lower step. So bending it down slightly, that is exactly right. So that one is set at 18.6. Just quickly put this back on. Right, so that's the bottom done. Right, now onto the side. If you remember when we took these apart, it was a diaphragm, a spring, cap. Then we've got the cover. And the 3 screws that hold it in place. So that just slots in. And goes the spring and the cap. Again, obviously being sprung loaded, need to make sure the cap fits over. Push down. Right, so now onto the top. So as you remember, diaphragm, spring, we've got our disc and the actual needle. The actual factory setting is 3rd from the top, which that one is. So looking at the diagram, you've got the spring, cap, that's obviously the clip that's already around it. So let's drop the needle through into the tube and diaphragm, then the cap, then the spring, and then the actual top plate and top cap. Needle in first. And then we'll have the spring on top. Alright, as you can see there's a cut out area which should line up. With the diaphragm. Spring fits into that. So not far off from done on the first carb. Next one to go in will be the air screw with the spring. Right, so that goes in as tight as it will go, don't push it. And then we actually go back to the notes I've already made. So for a standard running engine and carb, 1 1/4 to 2 turns out. So what I'm going to do at the moment, I'm actually going to leave these all the way in and then I'll adjust them. Because according to the details I found, mine should be nearly 2 3/4 out because it is running a bigger bore engine. Actually no, what I'll do, I'll do it to 2 turns out. That's half, 1, 1 1/2, 2, and then I can adjust from there. Right, so just the plunger. It's a 14mm nut on it. That's done. So that is basically one carb set up. So I've just got the other 3 to do. So what I'll do is I'll get all these components fitted back in and I'll bring you back when I actually use the joiners to join it back together and the bars to actually put them back as a complete set. So that's all the carbs back together. Only a few bits left to go. So I need to get the joiners in place and then I can get the bars back in place. Right, so I put in the actual joiners, but we need to get these lined up because they fit inside each other. Just slacken off. That adjuster. Right, so at the same time you're trying to push that spring down and connect it the other side. So that is two together. And then I need to do the same on this side, join these two together, and then we can join the four. So you've got the join in there, and this one will join into this one, and again this one joins in there by just pushing that down and using the adjuster. Alright, so that's all four back together. Now I need to connect the bar. Right, that's lined up perfectly, so then I can flip it over. We can actually put the last bar in. Right, last one to do is to fit the adjuster. Just need to unscrew it. Don't lose the spring. So it will actually fit like so. So one goes into the slot. And you can fit the adjuster. And that, in theory, should line up with that. So that's the underneath bar. Again, again, that's all been polished and the adjuster in place. Actually come out quite good. Quite pleased with that. So the only thing that's left is the actual choke bar. Obviously not losing the circlips. The only problem I've got is that because this bar is bent, I'm trying to find a replacement and I seem to be missing the two small ball bearings. I actually can't fit the actual choke bar, but it would literally fit. That's as far, oh no, might be lucky. No, that's as far as the bar will go because of the bends. You can see the bend there, another one there. So these would actually fit onto the actual choke plungers on the bar as I took them off in the very first episode. That's all I'm going to do for now until these parts turn up. Just bag parts and leave them in the tray. Yeah, so pleased with how they've actually come out. So next thing to do for the last bit of this episode is put them in the mock-up engine and see how they look. Right, and that's them mocked up on the bike. I've just grabbed one pod filter. But no, overall I'm happy with how they've come out, but let me know in the comments box below. As I say, the only thing that's left to do is the actual choke bar. But yeah, pleased with that. Right, so thanks for joining me on that. I hope that series was helpful. It taught me a bit. As I say, there's a lot of people out there that have helped and left comments, so always have a look in the comments box below. It is really helpful on a lot of videos. Like I said, pleased with how they come out. Let me know in the comments. Some people would have said no, I would have left him the same colour, but I think it matches him fine. But again, my choice. You don't have to, you can just have them cleaned and put them back as they are. I'm going to be taking a break from videos for probably a couple of weeks, just to recoup, recharge, get this garage sorted for a start. I need to have a really good sort of tidy up, clear out, and then we'll be back on the Z650. I'm sorry it's been so long, but part of me's been avoiding it, but it needs to be sorted, it needs to be done, it needs to be finished. So when I come back, I say probably be a couple of weeks. Should be quite good. There'll be a new piece of equipment in the garage hopefully by the time I come back, which I'm super excited about. That was it's been kindly given to me, so I really appreciate the thought of the people that have actually given it to me. But you'll find out when I come back. So like I say, we'll be on to the Z650, get that sorted, running and painted and finished. It has been a while, it has been an ongoing, but it needs to be done, it needs to be cleared, and then move on to the next project. Like I said, any comments in the comments box below, I appreciate all your feedback, all your comments. It does help me grow. I do learn a lot. There's a lot of experienced people out there, and I really appreciate all the comments I get. There's a link to my Facebook page in the description if you want to pop across there, say hello. I do take some time to get back to people, but you know, I try and keep people updated on there, what I'm doing. There are links to other videos at the end of the video, and as always, I really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching. Join me again next time. Cheers. Bye.